This is Sabrine, and you are listening to the Lemon Narrative Podcast with Sabrine. I am your host, and today I'm coming with an amazing and beautiful story. I'll let my guest introduce herself, but we are answering the question that I always ask you guys, which is if I am writing a feature film about you, what would you tell me? So you got it. Here you go.
Hi,
Introduce yourself.
Sabine. First of all, I'm very honored to be here and love talking to you. I reached out to you because I am a kidney warrior, as I would like to say as well. So that's one of my hats. Introducing myself, I'm also a mom of a 19-year-old boy. So um, luckily, I was able to have him. I became an entrepreneur. Um, which has to do with my story with the kidney thing and all of it. And the things I am doing and loving and what I offer have to do with music. I believe in the healing power of music, of creativity,
Mm.
also of the possibilities we have nowadays online, to work online, offer things online, podcasting, meeting nice people like you. um yeah, those are the things I love. I love nature. I am very happy that I have a transplant which works very well. And yeah, I appreciate every time I feel good and have nice moments like this one.
Do you, like as a kidney transplant person, I don't call myself patient anymore. Um, I can relate to this. Every time I enjoy something in life, and I'm like, wow, I was given the chance to come and do it again. I like even like simple things that people do not realize, like
Drinking.
drinking. Yes, not a lot of people know that when you are on dialysis, there's a limit on your like fluids intake, and you have to choose between coffee, tea,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
water.
exactly.
Like such a luxury people have and do not, acknowledge it. You had a limit on fluids too, right?
Oh, I had only 500 milliliters, which is
Yeah.
basically this cup. So to
Yes.
have a second coffee a day is like luxury. And I'm very happy every day I get to have this coffee. And
I
I
had to
also
give up
have
coffee.
a cup of tea.
Yeah, you can, I am a coffee, tea person. I love
Mhm.
water. I love those three. So to tell me to choose between the three was something I've never considered in my whole life.
Yeah,
And you know what? I had to choose. So I chose water
yeah, yeah.
because, that was my choice. Two, but like, the small bottle of waters that I was allowed two per day.
Yeah.
And the amount of water I drink now, I'm pretty sure is trauma. I don't need that water. I'm pretty sure I'm drinking it because um that like at some point I was not allowed to drink it, You can relate to this,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah, absolutely. Like even before I go out, I always think of how long I will be outside and if I will be able to drink. If not, I will always go with a bottle because I don't want to have this feeling of thirst, like
Mm.
if I can avoid it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's how it was. And I was talking to a friend of mine. Her father is now on the dialysis journey and has been for I don't know 7 years or so. They can't
Yeah.
find a donor. And I was telling like there's war in Sudan now, and I was telling her maybe think about ice cubes instead of water. So he because it's too hot over there, and I'm like maybe he could suck on ice cubes instead of like it would make him feel better, less thirsty. But yeah, what a conversation starter.
Yeah.
Fluids intake. But if you know, you know. I don't wish for anyone to go through this.
Me neither.
But if you did, and you made it out, good for you. Okay, let me start. Do you need to say something, or should I ask you
About the
the feature
story,
film?
future
Yes, your
film.
story.
I already told you my future story. Maybe it was too short, but I can start with the short version.
It's okay. I can ask you questions.
Yeah.
How about that? Okay.
Mhm.
So, um, did you do dialysis? Was it hemo or the PT?
Hemodialysis.
Hemodialysis. Okay. I have a different story because I did the PT's dialysis. So I know nothing about hemo. Maybe you can walk me through this. But
Yeah.
um, what would you say would be the opening scene of your film? You know, to just give you an idea,
Mhm.
okay, you know how some movies start with the end in mind? Like you see some sort, not the ending scene, but the opening scene would be where the conflict, at top, and you're like, how did this person get there? And then they go back, right?
Mhm.
And some
Picture.
movies are like from the beginning, someone was born, etc., etc., etc. One of, I think, the Truman Show is one of my favorite
Yeah, that's cool.
films of all time,
Hmm.
right? Um, Thinking about this in mind, what would you say your opening scene would be in your movie?
My opening scene would be me as a caterpillar surrounded by other caterpillars. We are friends, we're happy. Um, we we think we have a good life. We're
Mm,
happy, we're chatty, maybe we're singing. And above me, maybe I see a butterfly flying and I'm wondering like, oh my God, what is he doing? And he's so beautiful.
mm,
And I think that would be my opening scene. Like just wondering, wow, there are these other beautiful creatures. I'm not one of
mm.
them. I don't have
The
the
wings,
wings. Yeah, and
mm,
I'm not
the
that
colors.
colorful. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I would admire, but think like maybe in this life it's not meant for me to be that.
Mm. It's not meant for you to be a butterfly.
Yes. Hmm.
And this would be the opening scene of you not thinking you're not a butterfly. You will never be a butterfly. Are
Yeah,
you a
it would be
butterfly
it
now?
would be this feeling of I'm okay with my life. I'm okay with my life choices. I'm okay with the other caterpillars around me. I'm okay, obviously, being a caterpillar, but I don't have
Yes.
any idea how I could ever become a butterfly. I've always wanted to be one, but
Mm.
obviously it's not meant. So, yeah, kind of a melancholy to it, like just dreaming about it, wondering why it didn't work, but being kind of happy with my life. Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting take. So right now you're not a butterfly.
Right now I am. That
You
was
are a
just the opening
butterfly.
scene.
So the
Yeah.
feature film would be, your movie would be you thinking you won't be a butterfly, and you're
Yes.
comfortable where you are with the people around you, that you like, the other are the people, right?
That would be
So,
the
and
opening
you,
scene. Yeah, that would be like
this is the
what I
opening scene.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And my question is, when did you realize you have the possibilities to become a butterfly? How did it go?
That was when I was already on dialysis, and that was 6 years into my like since I became diagnosed with kidney failure.
Mm,
So I've been through a very long period where my life of a caterpillar was gone, and like
mm,
I've been in this period of 6 years where I thought my life was over. Like I was in the cocoon. I've really
mm,
felt like literally I couldn't move. I don't have any more dreams. I don't have any more options in this life. This is my life now.
mm,
Not knowing that in while I'm in there, I can still create a new life for me. And which from now, what I know now is much more the life that I've wanted.
mm.
And the first thought that maybe this is possible in my life was when I was on dialysis, because I had so much time. I think you know that too, maybe. Um, on hemodialysis, I spent 5 hours on that machine 3 days a week. So at
Yes.
first, I watched all the streaming services, movies, series, everything until I even got bored from that. Just
Mm.
imagine.
How many years were you in on hemo?
What total three?
Three
Yeah,
years. Okay.
3 years.
Okay.
And after 1.5, I got so tired of all the movies and street. I got exhausted even from watching movies. So
Mm.
I started
I know you
listening.
can. People don't believe this, but yes, you can. Yes,
Get
as
tired of
much
it.
as you wish for yourself to have all the time to watch the
Yeah.
things you want to watch, read all the books you want to read,
Yeah.
you're not gonna be happy when you have it.
Oh no, no, no. I was done. Like
No.
at some point I was kind of happy, like, oh, I have this time to watch this and this series and even all of the episodes. But yeah, in the end I got tired even of that. And that's when I discovered the podcast app. And
Mm,
from there my life just
changed.
like, yeah, I could imagine all these new things for me in my life, which I didn't think were in my cards. Yeah.
Can I ask you, how did you get the kidney failure?
It's a chronic disease, an autoimmune disease. I think I didn't remember correctly what you said. It's called
Is
uh,
it the same one I have?
say it please in English.
IgA
Yeah, yeah,
nephropathy?
yeah. I have the
So
exact same thing.
you
Yeah.
and I have the exact. I didn't know that. Wait, I didn't know that.
Hmm.
When were you diagnosed with IgA?
I was 28 years. And that was, yeah, I was diagnosed at 20% kidney function left, which is not much.
Oh, yeah, it's no, that's the
No, no, no.
last stage of it.
Exactly. Like I
Interesting.
was,
And you did not
Mhm.
have any symptoms
I had
before?
like nobody in my family had this, and I not obvious symptoms. No, I just got tired a lot, but
Mm,
it slowly progresses, so you don't really realize how much it's already affecting you. That was it for
yes.
me. I had many infects, like many whatever throat infection, whatever
Mm,
different things in a year. So
mm,
that I remember. Like I was not well, but my doctor like was just like, yeah, maybe she's exhausted because I was a single mom at the time. My son
mm.
was only 6 years old at that time. So he didn't do proper checkups, which maybe made it worse. Yeah, it made it worse. Yeah,
So, where are you based?
in
I'm supposed to
Germany,
ask this question. Where?
in Germany.
In Germany. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, this sounds like me. Okay, I just got it. I didn't know you had IgA. I thought you were talking about the dialysis and kidney failure, not even the whole start of like
Hmm. Yeah.
IgA. I was diagnosed at 21, um, and here I was diagnosed here in Canada, and they even said it's a late diagnosis, but I lived with this for 7 years
Yeah.
until I got the 20% at 28 too. Same age, same
Wow.
age, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
Uh, interesting. Wow, life where I have been talking about not being different, but we're actually the same. But like how
Hmm.
crazy you and I
Hmm.
have the same disease, got 20% kidney function at 28 years old.
Just imagine how
Wow.
I felt when I listened to your podcast. I was
Wow.
walking, I just went to the grocery store, listened to a podcast as I usually do. And I was
Yes,
like, she mentioned some chronic illness, and I felt for you because you were young. And then you said you had you were on dialysis, and I was like, oh my god, like
I am
it's
like
very,
mind blown right now.
yeah, me too. I was very, and I felt the pain so much because I feel like you were crying at some points, and I felt it. You
Mm.
know, your voice got a little,
I didn't cry, but my voice was. I
you
knew
know,
I was.
yeah,
If I talked more, I would cry, and I'm okay
yeah,
with crying. But I
yeah,
was not on that podcast to cry about the kidney failure. I was like
yeah.
there trying to talk about something else. We can cry today.
Yeah,
It's okay.
but I felt it. I felt it. I felt it. I felt the pain. I felt this. Why did I get this at 21? You said you were studying to become a doctor, and you would never imagine your life to be a patient. Same for
No,
me. Same for me. I never. Nobody in my family had something like that.
same,
And
same,
I did never smoked. I never drank. Never did anything to you know,
same
so
story.
I felt so cheated by life. Yeah, so
Yeah, I was like, all these people drink, and I don't,
exactly. Yeah.
and I don't do anything. All I do is studying, stressing. I try to be good.
Yeah.
Why? Like,
Yeah.
and you know what? It was right after I moved to Canada, so it was like I thought things were getting better. What is happening?
Mhm.
Going back to you.
Mhm.
So at 28, you were diagnosed with IgA. Like
Mhm.
after the kidney failure, they realized,
Yeah.
oh, this woman has an IgA
Yes.
nephropathy. We should have like figured it out before she reached that point,
Yes.
which is
Yes.
probably was very frustrating for you.
Yeah.
One of the social worker told me this disease creeps on you.
Mhm.
You don't know that it like
Mhm. Yeah.
slow steps towards your life,
Yeah.
and you're like you think. I honestly thought I was just aging.
Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
that thought too?
Yeah.
Because you were told by the society and everywhere that
Mhm.
approaching 30, you're supposed to look certain way and feel a certain way, which is not true, right?
Mhm.
So when things happen, you're like, I'm aging. That's not true. And you said you started to feel you're gonna become a butterfly when you listen to podcasts.
Mhm.
What was the thing? Is there's a certain sentence or anything that just came to your
Mhm.
mind?
It
Like,
was two different things. Like, you know, I've been into these 6 years of being very, 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 I felt very cheated by life. I felt I did not have a lot of hope. So
mm,
that was the situation I was in. I was just fine with it, but like I thought I don't have many more options in my life. And honestly, I don't know how the donation, like how many people donate an organ where you live, but in Germany, that was not like the perspective was like I could literally just die until I would get an organ.
mm,
So I was like the the fear of what this illness would do to me was very real. So I did not have any hope for my life. Like I was just happy as long as it stayed like that.
contained by the dialysis.
Exactly. So,
Mm,
but when I started listening to the podcast, there were two different podcasts that opened my mind. The one was a guy who interviewed people who he thought were happy, and he just asked them why, like, how have you created this life, and why you seem so happy to me? How did you do this? I want to be happy too. And just like I thought this idea is so simple, and he didn't have like nobody allowed him to start a podcast. He was not a trained journalist or anything. He just did what he followed what he wanted to do and really felt like I need this and I think it's valuable for other people.
mm,
So this thought, like, technology opened so many things for us. Like maybe 20 years ago, I wouldn't be able without being trained to just start a radio show or something. But the thought of doing what he did, maybe I could do something like that just for fun.
mm,
And then I heard another podcast who was a digital nomad, and I've never heard that term before.
mm,
And he was like as smart as me, as educated as me, and he just had this dream of a life where he wasn't stuck in a company and not stuck to a place.
mm,
And I was like, oh my God, like I still have my mind, I still have my brain, it works. I just don't have a lot of time and energy as not as much as I used to. I need to be on dialysis. Sometimes I'm tired. So my company will not let me, like they will not invest in me, or there's no perspective for me to become manager or anything where I could make
mm,
any more money. And so I didn't have many options left. So the
mm,
thought of maybe, just maybe, I could start something on my own with the brain I still have, and create the life that I want.
mm,
That opened me up for the thought that maybe in my life I could be the butterfly that I want to be with the things that I'm good at, that I
mm,
love, and that I can give still with all the limitations I had.
mm. But you still saw that you have limitations. I love everything you said.
Hmm.
Um, because I know how it feel to be hooked up to a machine. Literally. It feels like you're the phone being charged. Does that make sense?
That's a good picture, yeah.
For real. You're there sitting, okay? Like wherever your catheter is, I don't know where your catheter was, but mine
Mhm.
was your hand. Okay, so for PD, it was even in my tummy.
Mhm.
I tell people now I have two belly buttons. That's not true, but there's that smallest scar.
Mhm.
So, and mine was 9 hours at night every day
Mhm.
because I was so scared of hemo.
Mhm.
Hemodialysis, I didn't want to do hemo. I don't like
Mhm.
seeing my blood.
Mhm.
And, so the idea of you, I remember, um, I'm an early riser and I remember trying to get up late so I don't wake up before the dialysis ends.
Mhm. Mhm.
Does that make
Mhm.
sense? Because yeah, because I did not want to deal with with being in the bed
Mhm.
or like getting myself into the machine before I finish everything at night.
Mhm.
Because you know what? The moment you are like plugged to
Mhm.
that,
Mhm.
you can't leave.
Yeah.
Yes, the cord or whatever you're hooked up with is long enough for you to
Mhm.
wander
Mhm.
around a room, but that's about it. So the idea, you were already at this place where you didn't think you have the possibilities to be a butterfly,
Mhm.
but guess what? You were put into more limitations,
Mhm.
right? By your body.
Mhm.
And I remember reading a person said, someone I used to know on Facebook, wrote that with disability is the grief of what you could have been
Exactly.
doing,
That's how I felt.
that you're
Exactly.
limited for not doing, right?
Yeah.
And let's face it, there's still grief and there's
Mhm.
are still limitations
Yes.
we are still facing even after the
Mhm.
transplant, right? We will be talking about this. Um, so I love that you were inspired by other people in a
Mhm.
podcast, and you were thinking, oh, that person is doing this. I can do that. What did you do next? Um, Also, another question I had, I just forgot to ask.
Mhm.
What is your main profession at that time? Were you working as well?
I was working as an auditor. Yeah, which I
Okay.
would now say is the least, no, the furthest away from my soul.
Hmm.
Like I'm everything. I'm not that, but I learned a very important sentence or quote which says, "Just because I can do it doesn't mean I have to do it." But I used to
Mm.
live a life where, well, I can do this job, so I did the job. I became that,
Hmm.
an auditor, but I never asked myself, like, why not do something I like, or which I'm better at, or which is more fun, or
Mm.
yeah.
I have listened to a podcast called Creative Journeys by one of the Night Owls members,
Hmm.
AB and Wolf. I suggest you listen to it. I'm on the second episode, and what Wolf said hit me so hard is the idea that you were told by society and everyone that you need to learn a profession to provide.
Yeah.
They don't tell you to go expand your career or like find your creative thing. And I'm not talking about following your passion. I'm
Mhm.
talking about actually finding the thing that you're good at to make money out of it because you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
But instead, you settle for what everyone is telling you makes money. What like I don't know, your dad, anyone in your family tells you, "Oh, good there. You can do this. You can live by this." So it's like the settling,
Especially because I
and
was a
you
mom,
settled.
I thought I had to. I thought I knew after a year that this I should not study business.
Uh,
That's not like I can, as I said, I can do it, but that doesn't mean I have to do it. But
mm,
I was pregnant after a year, and um, the baby, I wanted this baby, but it put me in a position where I felt like, well, now let me just finish with these studies. Let me get my diploma, and then you go on. You're like, okay, out of all the jobs, let me take that one which makes maybe the most money to provide
mm,
the most, and all these decisions I thought I had to
to
make.
make.
Yeah.
Mm. Did you feel like you need to make these decisions to provide, or because it's
Yes.
your brain told you this is the safest option,
Yes.
or this is what it was available, or a
Both,
combination?
both. It's a
All of
combination.
it.
They were the first company to say, yes, they offered me a contract.
Mm,
So I said yes. Also, like what I know now, they made it sound so easily, and they said, of course, we will take care of you being a single mother. You only have to work in companies which are close and nearby.
mm.
And yeah, these things were not true. So it was really tough working there.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, when we find, I remember the first job I got after university. I'm in my second job,
Hmm.
but before that, I did a lot of work, so I understand how it goes with the first
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
It's not easy. So let's go over this. Your opening scene is you looking at butterflies, thinking, "Oh, I'm not gonna be a butterfly," and
Yeah.
then you go on, and you're fine. You're just admiring them, and you go on with your life, the life that you think is the best thing to do,
Hmm.
and those are your options. Not just your options, you've made the right choices by finishing your business degree, having the child, being a single mother, choosing the contract. And when was what was your age then when you had all of this
Yeah, that was, I only worked there for 2 years when I got
diagnosis?
the diagnosis. Yeah.
Okay, okay, so it's not long. Okay,
Not a
okay.
period.
And were you working after the diagnosis too? Like you were
No,
working and
I could not. I could not. I
you could not.
was out of my job for 2 years, which is the limit. Like after that, in Germany, you get covered for some time.
Mm,
Well, I've like really stretched the time to the maximum. This is when they really said you either somehow make it work, or we will have to like really send you off to the, we have some other social system which is like the lowest, which
mm,
was like the last option available. But I realized they were not, like, they were really looking down on me, which is a
mm,
shame.
mm.
Not just because I wasn't, yeah, let's not go there. So I really felt like, you know what, I have to make this work now. I cannot imagine working at this job because uh auditing is very stressful.
Mm.
So what I did, I called the doctor. We had a doctor at our company, and I just told her, we have to make it work, and you have to make it very clear to my bosses that this is a very dangerous disease. I'm not yet on dialysis, but if they stress me out, I will even lose more function. This
Mm,
is about the blood pressure and all of these things. So she made that very clear,
mm.
and so they offered me kind of a. First of all, it was only half time, half. How do you call it? Not a
Half
full
pay.
time, half, not a full time job, but a
Oh, oh yeah, part time.
part time job. Yeah, a part time job, and also like they would give me easier tasks that are not that
Mm.
that don't have that many deadlines and everything. Like everybody in the company knew that they should not stress me out. Which, yeah,
I think I think that's sad how they dealt with it at the beginning. But what I love here is self advocacy.
yes,
I
yeah.
love that you went and spoke about everything, and even, and I know it's exhausting, like, and I was just talking about this to someone. I admire this because I'm not capable of talking about what I'm going through while going through it. I know what I'm going through, but I don't have the energy sometimes to fight or even to educate people. But you had that, girl. You went there and you're like, listen, this is what I have. Listen, this is blah blah blah, and you need to do that, and that's great power. I don't know if you were aware of it there
I
then.
didn't
Were
have
you
that in me before. I didn't have that in me before. I learned it right then
right then?
because I think you can tell by the way I say it. I just knew I'm too young to be taken out of the whole system and not left with any job options. That's
Mhm.
not an option. And also I felt like in some way this company is also to blame for my disease because it was very, very, very stressful. These are not normal working hours.
No.
Um, the pressure was a lot, and it's not even allowed anymore nowadays. Those were the
Mm,
times, you know? So I did not have any bad feeling telling them, you know what, you pay me the same money just for a part time job.
mm,
Like, of course, 50%, but part time, and you give me easier tasks because
mm.
probably you've earned so much money. You can pay me for the next 10 years with the years I gave you of my life, you know, the 2 full years, because I know
Yes.
what they earned with me and I know what I got paid. And
Mm.
these two didn't match.
The power of knowledge.
Yeah, I earned in the first 3 weeks of January, I earned my whole salary for the
Mm.
company, you know. So I knew.
You knew.
Yeah,
You
that
knew.
they owe me
But
something.
even though you knew,
Hmm.
something interesting, even though you knew, you did
Hmm.
not act on it right away. You acted on
Hmm.
it when you were diagnosed.
That's
So
it.
was it the diagnosis that made you angry? Because you said I was angry. I felt like they are to blame for my disease. Was it coming out of anger or just you supporting yourself?
You know, at first, I just felt like a victim of life. Like, how could this happen to me? I played all the right cards, like, but that's
Mhm.
not how life works. But that's how I expected. Like, if I'm good,
Things to
obviously
work.
life has to be good, but it's not.
Mm,
That's not how it works. So at first, I think I spent 2 years just being sad and feel like a victim of
mm,
everything, of life, of the system. I
mm,
couldn't believe how I ended up there. And after those 2 years, because the system forced me to either fight or completely like give up, that's the point where I felt like I'm too young to give up. I can't give up. I
mm,
want to fight. And the first fight was to say, you know what, you have to make some way, you have to make it possible for me to work here. I know there are
mm,
things to do, and I know I'm not stupid, but I also know I'm not going to drive to companies like crazy and spend, I don't know, 10, 12 hours working there,
mm.
because I
Were
also
you
have a
paid for
child.
the 10, 12 hours or just the 8 hours?
No, they paid for the, I could only manage to work part-time at that time. So
No,
I
before
only,
that, in the 2 years.
before, it was way more than 10. It was, officially, it
No,
was
but
the eight
what the pay?
hours
Did they pay for 12 hours or 8 hours? I don't know how things work in
indirectly. You
Germany.
know, yeah, auditing works in a way that you spend those crazy hours in winter, and then you usually have the
Mm.
summer, you have longer times off, and get rid of all those
Oh,
overtime hours you,
okay.
you took, you know. So there is some kind of compensation, but it didn't match the energy I
No,
left, and
at all.
also not what that meant for my son, you know.
Mm,
There were many times I wasn't there.
okay.
Yeah.
How did you have a fear of what would happen to your son?
Yeah, that was that was the first thought, of course. Yeah, so I tried to not look as sad as I was. I tried to put on a happy
Mask.
face for him, mask, yeah.
How
But he
old was
saw the
he?
weakness. I couldn't hide the weakness. I was very weak. I think
Mm.
you know the weak kind of weakness I'm talking about. Yeah.
You thought you were weak?
I was super
Sorry?
weak. No, 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 no. When I got diagnosed, like I really I was weak in a way like I could
Oh,
barely
physically.
manage. Yeah, I could
Oh,
barely manage to take him to kindergarten or school, buy some groceries, lie down
Mm,
again, eat, pick him up, go to bed. That was the
yes.
energy level I was at for years. Yeah.
Mm. I'm just going to explain to people. This is when you have a kidney failure,
Hmm.
you might look like a functioning person,
Hmm.
but the truth is you're not a functioning person. I
Yeah.
remember not just getting out of the bed
Yeah.
just to wash my face,
Yeah.
have coffee in the morning. That was a huge task.
Yeah.
And and I was lucky enough to just be it's just me. So I
Yes.
would just go wash my face, do my prayers, and go back to bed.
Yeah.
I was on bed all the time.
Yeah.
So I just, I can see scenes of you
Hmm.
waking up every morning and doing all of that and everything it has on you.
Hmm.
But while you were physically feeling all that, what was in your mind? Because you said the first 2 years that you were feeling as a victim were the dialysis years.
No, no, no.
It was the
Dialysis.
years that you
Yeah. Dialysis
you
came
were
after
working.
5 years. I wasn't working. I was not. I was on sick leave, and I was. I think now I would say I was depressed as well. I couldn't deal with it. I could not deal with it, and also the remaining kidney function is just not much. Like many people with 20% kidney function already go on dialysis, so
Yeah.
that's not a lot of function. So yeah, just you can even say that if a normal person has 100% function, I have 20, that's like a fifth of the energy. You could really say that in some way, like that's the energy I had left
Hmm.
in a day.
I
Yeah.
went into dialysis at 20%.
See, yeah,
So I was on dialysis, and I remember the days before dialysis. I was so tired. I stopped eating to the point where they started my dialysis while my catheter incision was still like 3 days
hmm
after or so. Like I had to do
hmm
dialysis laying on bed and not moving
hmm
because I was in like, and that was 20%. So
hmm
you not doing dialysis at 20% and expect it to function.
yeah,
I think the world needs to be educated.
yeah. I lived 5 years off of those 20%,
Without
and
dialysis.
without dialysis. I was 2 years on sick leave, and then that's when I told my job, I'm running out of money. Like I need some job because the system is not going to pay for me anymore. And that's when I got the part-time job, which I could manage. Yeah,
Hmm.
some
What
days
was the
better,
reason you
some
did
days
not
worse.
start dialysis, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, my the symptoms, apart from just the exhaustion, was one, but I did not have too many. There are different parameters mm, that you have to look at before you decide whether somebody needs to go on dialysis or not.
Mm.
So my blood pressure was fine. My
Mm.
The toxins were not that much.
Oh, okay.
My I still had urine. It's not a beautiful
Yeah.
word, but for a dialysis patient, it's gold. It's like I was happy I still had that. So
Mhm.
at that time, I could still drink a lot, and the remaining kidney function could work with it. But my energy
Mm.
levels were very low. But then
Mm.
what came a time when my body started to keep the toxins in, couldn't handle it, couldn't
And
handle the fluids
retention,
anymore.
the
Yeah,
water. Yeah.
retention. Exactly.
Mm.
And that's when my doctor said, get
Yeah.
ready.
You need dialysis. Yeah. For the people, just to explain this for listeners and watchers who never experience, I hope they don't. With kidney failure, you don't go to the washroom.
That's
Um,
one of the pros, actually. Like you could take
it,
me on
it's
a
one
on
of
a
the
plane
pros.
ride. I wouldn't have to go use the
it's
bathroom.
it's one of the pros, but it's a painful one because your body keeps the fluids in. You
Yeah.
cannot drink lots of
Yes.
water. Your body rid of all the toxins through. Sorry if we're getting gross here,
Yes.
but through
Yeah.
urine.
Yeah.
Okay, you have
Yeah.
no idea right now when I
Mhm.
use the washroom and there is urine.
Mhm.
I am happy. I never complain about it.
So
How
true.
many times you too? Yes.
Every
I
time I take
never thought, I never thought in my whole life I'll be happy and I'm going to say the word about peeing. I've never thought about that.
so proud every time.
I'm so proud every time I use the washroom.
Me too.
And it created this. I notice myself nowadays. It's like a mama with her baby. I'm like, how many times did I go today? How did it look like? How, and this is an honest conversation, you guys. This is real, because imagine, imagine for a couple of years, you're not urinating.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
normal. And
No.
everyone, I hear people saying, "Oh, I wake up so many times at night." Excuse me, you're lucky.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
that's a blessing you are not aware of. So I got it right away when you said I can urinate. That's
Hmm.
why you're not on dialysis, because you
Yeah.
can't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
For me, it was stopping.
Hmm.
Well, until my, like, I was 2 years on transplant, and until that I was
Hmm.
drops every 3 4 days.
Hmm.
But the blessing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
no energy for 5 years.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of years. I cannot imagine what you
Yeah.
went through. I feel like if we're making this into the movie, and having someone acting it with the scenes and
Hmm.
everything, it will be much more, um, people would see it. But I am someone who went through this, so I understand it. So
Hmm.
not using the washroom, not having the energy, and the world is expecting you to function just like them, the able word who does not know how it feels to be sick, and who does. And I think one of the most frustrating things is people looking at you thinking you're young,
Hmm.
and you thinking, I'm young, everyone is young and living their life, but I'm
Hmm.
going through this. Why?
Hmm.
Because I watched my friends graduate, getting married, having babies while I was on that bed.
Hmm. Yeah, go out. I imagine you couldn't even go out in the classic
Yeah,
way, like have fun.
no, you can't go
Yeah.
out.
See.
And this, no matter how strong you are,
Hmm.
it it just have, it's a different feeling.
Hmm. Yeah.
How did you feel? How, I know you are explaining now how things were working, but what
Hmm.
was the inner feeling in your heart? Not even the brain that is trying to be angry, or like explaining or telling people or standing up, but what was the real feeling in your heart? Were
That's
you
why I'm.
crying? How was it?
That's why I'm using this picture of the cocoon because
Mm.
it's a really powerful picture if you think of it. Like the whole caterpillar is dissolving, and that's
Mm.
exactly how I felt. My life,
It's
the
very
life of a
cool.
caterpillar, which I know now, but my life as I knew it and as was, which was fine for me, not the best, but it was fine, was over. It was just over, and there was nothing to replace it. It was just over, with the perspective of it getting worse. You have to go on dialysis, so on and so on. So that also had gave me the feeling of the cocoon, like being in that thing and not able to move and get out of, because I also always felt this kind of sword in my neck of
Mm.
dialysis looming. Like if you do this too much, or if you do that too much, if you have too high of a blood pressure, if you get too stressed, if you eat the wrong things,
Hmm.
see, you know, and that
Keeping a
added.
log of everything.
Exactly, yeah. So it was not a good state to be in. It was a cocoon state. It was not living, it was surviving.
Hmm. I agree. You know what? My dialysis nurse said, we are teaching you how to live with dialysis. And I was like, wow, I'm going to live with dialysis.
Such a beautiful sentence. Oh my God. I wish
It's
somebody had told me
beautiful.
that. Yeah.
It's beautiful. But the reality is, you try to live with it. It does not try with you back. You're the only one trying.
That's also a good
It's like a
sentence.
one love side. It's like love from one person was
Yeah,
called. I forgot the name.
you're
One
right.
sided love. So it's just like, okay, I am trying. Hello,
Mhm.
try with me. Hold my
Mhm.
hand. But no one, it's the else is not holding your hand. It's doing what it can with your body.
Mhm.
Have you felt betrayed by your body, by yourself? Like, have you felt that,
Oh,
like, this body is
yeah.
betraying me?
Totally. Like the one thing, I was used to being at the hospital. Like I had when I was 3, I had a very big surgery in my tummy. That's why I cannot do pedo. What's it called? The other dialysis thing.
Oh, PD. Yeah.
PD. Yeah, that's why I cannot do
I
that.
can't even pronounce it. I just called it PD.
PD. Yeah, yeah. So I was used to, okay, sometimes my body gets sick and then I go into hospital and then I go out and everything is good again. Like that happened again when I was 6, when I was 16, and when I was 18. And after the birth of my son, it never happened again. So I felt like, yeah, my body's cool now. So
Mm,
when I felt like something is wrong and I had to go to the hospital and didn't know yet that I had kidney failure, I felt like, yeah, I'm just going in like I'm used to, and I'll be out in a week or two, and life will be back.
mm,
So I couldn't deal with the fact that this was different because I couldn't make sense of it. I just didn't understand where would that come from.
mm,
Um, so yes, I felt betrayed, and then after 1 year, I was just about to climb out of this hole.
mm,
I had another thing in my belly where I needed a surgery in my tummy, and that's what really got me because I was already trying to process what happened to my body,
mm,
and for it to again do something where I did not know, they didn't know where that came from. I had something in my belly again that was very painful, and they had to take out. I don't
mm,
know, and that was even worse. And I think this is why it took me 2 years out of the job because I felt like I cannot trust this body anymore. Why is it
mm,
having high blood pressure? I'm too young for. I can't. No,
mm.
I can't. Oh my god. I I I felt like I felt like yeah, like a very toxic, like a one-sided relationship. Like I gave it my best, and it would just cheat on me all the time. Like that's how I
Mm.
felt.
That's not what you want from
I
it.
lost all
And
of the trust in my body, and that's a very bad, horrible feeling.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did you start to hate it? Was it just losing trust, or it
I
went
think
to the point where you're hating it?
I would turn it the other way around. It wasn't until I started loving my body for how well it still dealt with the 20% or how well it dealt with the dialysis until I started loving it. That's when we kind of reconnected, and I felt like we're working together. It wasn't
Mm,
until I wasn't fighting it anymore. It wasn't until I listened to it and
mm.
respect it and be like, you know what, you're tired. We're staying at home, and I love you. And that took me a while to get to that point. Yeah.
Did you feel that with all what you went through, all the surgeries before you go into you know that you have a kidney failure? Um, Before the kidney failure, you were doing a couple of surgeries. At that point, were you
Mhm.
angry at your body for going back and forth to the hospital? But
I
before
think
the knowledge of of the kidney failure,
the
how did
right
you feel with all of that?
thing, you know, I think the right word is not, it wasn't hate. It was total neglect. It was like, oh, you again. You're disturbing me. I want to be an auditor and live a horribly stressful life without any sense. That's like, I was kind of, it was telling me, hey,
Annoyed.
yeah, you don't like it here, and you need different things, you need different settings, different people. And I was like, ugh, get away from me. Like that's how I
Hmm.
treated it, like a dog you don't like or whatever. I don't know. I treated it like it didn't belong to me, and it was
Mm.
just trying to belong to me because that's I'm living in my body. So yeah,
As if you're not living in a harmony with your body.
it was not.
You were
I
not
was
living in a
not
harmony with your body.
totally. I was not. I didn't know. I didn't. I cannot remember any time in my life where I was in harmony with my body before. I was not used to that feel. I was not taught to
Mm,
feel that. I grew up in East Germany, which
mm.
was a dictatorship. So I grew up functioning. You do not listen if you're tired, if you're weak, if you're even if you have a cold. You don't listen to that. You function. That's how I was raised. Yeah.
Mm. And how about the image standards? Sorry, the beauty standards for with that with the
Oh yeah.
where
Mm.
where like let me articulate this better. So your body was told at a young age that it has to function perfectly,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And you're not allowed. And I can only imagine with the school and everything, your attendance has to be up level. You just, and everything else comparing to
Hmm.
everyone, right? Because everyone was presenting that image. How about the
Hmm.
beauty standard image?
Hmm. There
How did
was
you feel about it?
that played a role. That was a huge part because I used to do ballet
Mm,
at the age of 12 when my body grew in different areas. Yeah, the teacher gave me the feedback I should watch my body or my food intake. And the same, my mom wasn't like that, but my grandma. She defined herself over her slim body, and she always kind of, she loved me.
mm,
And that's why she told me I should watch my food and all of these things. So these things played a role. And also, I grew up in the 90s where the trend was very, very thin people. And I was not a very thin, I was
person.
thin by
Mm.
nature, but not very, like, you know. So yeah, that played a toll, like, or played a part in me not really living in my body and loving my body, and but kind of fighting against it. Yeah, kind of
So,
like a battle with my body. Maybe how slim can I go? How fit can I be?
mm,
How much can I do
how much food
while
you can cut?
neglecting it? Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm, yes, I can relate to that. The reason I asked you that is I seen the pattern that
Hmm.
I also
Hmm.
had, but with different things. Um, Before anyone asks you about your body or the feedback, what were your thoughts about your body? Did it ever cross your mind that your body looks a certain way?
I knew my body looked a certain way. I've always had,
But like, have you criticized it? Have you looked at it thinking, this and that?
always, it was always my belly because I had a scar. That's where it started. I've always
Oh,
had
okay.
thin arms, thin legs, but the rest of my body is just not so
No,
thin.
I
So
gotcha.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
was like, ah,
Mm.
yeah, I no, I did not like it. I would love to. I would once like to know how a slim, flat belly with muscles feel.
To this moment, I feel that. I feel that so much.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that's why I asked you because I think our
Mhm.
bodies are already in connection with us that we don't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
because
yeah,
we're living in it
yeah.
and our bodies are connected to us, but we just keep ignoring and ignoring and ignoring until it's
Mhm.
like fed up with you. It's as
That's
if like
literally
it gave you a punishment. Here you
That's
go.
literally what an autoimmune disease does. It fights you, just
It
like I
fights you
fought
back.
myself. It fights the body cells.
Mm,
So that totally resonates, and that's why, after the birth of my son, I was 21. I was at peace with my body. I
mm,
still had the belly, I still had the scars, but I was at peace because I was so proud that this belly could carry a baby,
mm.
because they told me I could not. So I was so proud of my body. And I
Love
really,
that.
at the time when the kidney failure thing happened, I was not at war with my physical appearance, but I I wanted my body to function. I did not respect it. I did not give it the rest it needed, and that's the bigger problem that played a role at that time.
But you know what? I don't think you ever gave your body what it deserved from the beginning.
Absolutely, absolutely not. And it started
Even
with the food.
though you
Yeah,
were physically, in appearance, you were happy with what you had at that point. But
yeah,
there's so many aspects to how to
yeah,
respect our bodies
yeah.
that I'm not judging you here. I know I went through the same. And I know even
Mhm,
after the transplant, I was trying to lose
mhm,
weight
mhm,
and I was looking at my scars and everything, and I was so proud that my belly was slimmer,
mhm.
and it just hit me. And I'm like,
Mhm.
this body went through so much.
Yeah.
Why am
Yeah.
I treating it like that? I should be
Mhm.
proud of it.
Mhm.
And I will never forget that moment.
Mhm.
It changed everything. I was like, if someone is not doesn't like that body
Yeah.
in any sense, I'm fine because I love it,
Yeah.
you know. But I love what you said. It's a I love this because it's a journey from the start, especially for us women
Mhm.
in many cultures from the beginning. Like I remember, I remember when I was a child, my mom has a lighter skin, a softer hair than mine, and from the start they're like, "Ah, you're not like your mom." From the start, when there's a child, when the child is a girl, people start commenting on and predicting how she will look like.
Mhm.
Right? Have
Mhm.
you heard this in around you? Oh, she'll have, I don't know, of course we grew up in different beauty standards because you were saying thin. Us,
Mhm.
it's always the curve, right?
Mhm.
So it's always like, she would have this, and it would be something so intimate. Why would you comment on how my legs would look like, or
Mhm.
how, my skin tone will turn like? And you're
Mhm.
just imprinted with that in your brain, that
Mhm.
this is what you're supposed to look like, and if you deviated a little bit away from that,
Mhm.
you start like, you start like moving away,
Mhm.
not being in harmony of your
Mhm.
body, which is very important for everyone, not just for women, to be in
Yeah.
harmony of their bodies. It's like,
Yeah.
it's your body, it's carrying you, it's taking care of you, right?
Yeah.
I love I love I love
100%.
that I love that how we took this to
Mhm.
body image and harmony with your body. I'm like trying to think what
Mhm.
would be the theme of your film.
Mhm.
What do you think is the theme here?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, it's not. It's like I was living, I think we consist of a body, a soul, and something, some people call it spirit, whatever.
Mm,
You can call
mm,
it mind, spirit, I don't know. I was trying to force to live through my head what I wanted.
mm,
No matter no matter what my soul wanted, no matter what my body needed. That's why it's the picture of the caterpillar. The caterpillar, it lives. It's okay. It's not a butterfly. I was born, everybody, I think, like, I'm just using the image. I'm not judging caterpillars. Caterpillars are very cute, but
mm.
butterflies can fly. We are free. We have a soul. We can. So I believe we are all born to become butterflies, but many accept a life as a caterpillar.
Mm,
Also, of course, because when you avoid the whole stage where you're in a cocoon, you avoid pain. You know, if you
mm,
avoid the pain, you're not growing, and you cannot grow into a butterfly. Some people learn that very early, and they realize very early what's in them and what they want to do. And for me, it took me until I was, I don't know, beginning of my 30s, until I realized, wow, there's still so much in me that
mm,
wants to be here, that wants to live here. So let's make the best out of the remaining energy.
mm,
And for that, we need this body. And
mm.
that alone makes it worthy and beautiful for my story. Yeah.
And did you start your new career right away then?
No, that was a journey too. That was a journey. But what started right away was I quit. And I was not a quitter because
Mm.
I was
Oh,
afraid,
I
and
tell
I
myself that all the time. Be a
yeah.
quitter. There's nothing wrong with quitting, right?
You can always start another shitty job. I'm sorry, but you can always, there are always jobs that suck your soul out of your body. That you can always do that. That's always available.
Mm,
It's the hope to yeah, to find something that's more suited to you. So what I did is I quit.
mm,
I had the opportunity
mm,
to work at just a different company. It was, but at least I grew, and I made I hope this is the right English. I made the experience that when I dare something, either way, no matter how it goes, I will learn. I will be smarter in the end. Even if I end up at the
Mm,
same job as before, or even if it is worse, I'm gaining experience. I gain that I can leave bad situations which are not good for me, you know? I gain confidence, and I get used to dealing with the anxiety that comes with quitting things and starting new things. Of course, I was on dialysis at that time when I quit my job, and it's not an easy decision. I get that. But there's always the chance it can be better after that,
mm,
because really, how much worse at that point can it get? Because what I refused, and again, I was again at a point in my life where I was like, I refuse to take the little energy I have left and put it into that job. I
mm.
cannot. I cannot give my energy to that company anymore. So that's what made me brave. Yeah.
I love
I-
this.
yeah, and
I
it
know
was
you
not.
said
Yeah.
like you even started a new job, but for
Hmm.
me, and you said it, that was progress in your own terms.
Yes.
Because you know what? We see stories around the world. Oh, I quit my job, I started my business, made $1 million.
Hmm.
It might work for one person, it's not going to
Hmm.
work for everyone. And everyone has different um, abilities, different situations, different
Yeah.
things they're going through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially you and I being on dialysis and other stuff.
Yeah.
So I love this. I love that you, right, you quit that job because you didn't like what was going with it and you started another job, same
Hmm.
profession, right?
Similar. Like
Similar, but
I've
it's still a job.
progressed. It's still a job, and I did. I was business development manager for a startup then,
Okay.
because he
Start.
needed
I love
someone.
startups.
Yeah, he needed someone cheap, and I needed something
Really?
different.
Yes.
So because he knew I had a lot of experience, I told him, look, I'm on dialysis. I cannot make any promises, and I've never
Mm,
done what you want me to do, but I will do it.
mm,
And I gave him a very good price. Like it was a little bit more money than I made at the auditing company,
mm.
but still for the job that I actually did, I was cheap. But
Yeah,
good for him, good for me, because I've
worked for you.
gained a lot of experience, and I left him again after a year because it didn't work for me. But at that time I was so brave. I was like, if I don't like a job, I'm not staying.
I did it before, I can do it again.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
let's do this.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
love this energy. I love this energy.
Yeah.
This is me after like I told, like you said it, I quit. I left med school, I started neuroscience,
Hmm.
blah. And
Hmm.
then I remember, after I remember, like I know this. I did this before. I can do it again. Let's do this. And this is the power of quitting something and moving on to the next thing. Is that it's not the end of the world,
Yeah.
and opportunities are there if we think about them. Also, something came up to my mind when you were talking about quitting and coming back. You were on dialysis. How did you end up doing a transplant?
Yeah,
Like
that was another
you were
crazy
like
story.
5 years. I'm just trying to have a timeline. 5 years without dialysis. Then how many years with dialysis? Two,
Three. Three.
three. So those are 8 years till transplant.
Hmm.
Transplant for us is the big,
Hmm.
the light
Gold.
at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did transplant happen?
It almost didn't. My my mom and my stepdad couldn't for medical reasons.
Mm,
My boyfriend offered me, and his mom as well, and they were kind of suited, but it wasn't sure, and I did not want to risk that because I really needed him and her in my life.
mm.
And then after 2 years on dialysis, I found my biological father again after 30 years. So
Wow. Wow.
not like I approached him earlier, but I couldn't find him right away. So it took me some time. So the intention wasn't to find a donor,
It
because
was to
I don't,
connect.
yeah, I don't, yeah, it was to, I was ready. Again, yeah, I think it started with the experience, just like with the job. You have to be ready to fail. If you're not ready to fail, you cannot quit your job and try something new. So with my father, I had to be ready for a no, and I was not ready
Mm,
before.
mm,
So, but at that time, I've gotten so brave, and I was like, you know what? Time is precious. I don't know how long he will live. I don't know how long I will live. I need to find closure, and I'm ready for the no. But the no
yeah,
was a yes, you know? So having him already was the gift. And after 3 months, he asked, you know what? How about if I gave you my kidney? And his kidney, and that was the crazy part, like, because my mom wouldn't fit at all, but my dad, like, 100%.
yeah,
So yeah, it took a year until all the, I think you know the journey. You have to take a lot of tests and everything. So,
mm,
and he didn't live where I live, so it took some time for us to get all the tests. And then, yeah, after a year, he gave me
yeah.
his. Yeah.
It happened. Um, I hope your father is still around in your life.
Yes, he is. Yes, he
Yeah,
is. Yes, and he's
and
well.
you're happy
He's well.
together.
Yes, I am.
Wow. I have
Yeah.
tears and I have no tissue around me. So um,
Yeah.
that's that's marvelous.
Yeah.
That's a miracle.
That's a
I
miracle, but it started with being brave. It started with this awareness. Time is so, so precious. We don't know. We don't know. I don't know. You don't know. Your mom doesn't know. My mom doesn't know. We don't know when life will end.
No, we
Yeah.
don't. And
Yeah.
it takes us such a, I don't know if it start. Okay, here's my thing. Did it actually start with you being brave, or did it start with the pain of dialysis?
Now I'm
And
going to cry too.
it's okay
Ah,
to cry
because I think
because
I've always been a brave woman. Like I really
I don't
planned
think you
to
were
have.
never not a brave woman,
You're
because you're
right. You're
saying I
right.
became brave. I think you were
You're right.
brave all the time.
You're
It's
right.
just
You're right.
the pain. The pain,
The pain made me fierce more.
the
It made
no, the
me,
pain makes you vulnerable. And
wow.
when you are
You're
brave,
right. You're
because
right. That was,
I
you're
am
right.
brave and
You're
I
right.
know how to face things. But we think
Mm,
we need to be brave all the time.
you're
The
right.
truth is, you need
Yeah.
to be weak
Yeah.
sometimes and vulnerable to let people in,
Oh my
right?
God. Wow.
Right?
I never saw it that way. You're right. Like, you're right. Like, I was not. I would never allow failure. That's why I would avoid failure, and that's why it would keep me from being brave at certain points.
Hmm.
You're right. And I was not. I would not allow a no to me, which kept me from asking him. And you're right. It was. I wasn't allowing myself, even for from myself, to be vulnerable or even
And
sad. Yeah,
to
to
feel
feel.
that
Oh my
feeling.
God.
When you're
Yeah.
brave, you
Oh my
people
God. You're.
think brave people are not
Are you a
afraid.
therapist? Oh my God. This
I
is
refuse to be a
mind
therapist
blowing.
at this point in my
Wow.
I think we're just connected. I think we clicked. That's why,
Oh.
when I had the same problem before
Hmm.
being sick. Now I want to cry. Before being sick was um, I cannot feel my feelings. I don't want to feel them, especially the uncomfortable feeling of being weak and asking for help and relying on someone because of I don't know if you have siblings, but I was the oldest in my still still
Mhm.
the no other kid came out of nowhere, unfortunately. But I am the oldest in my family, and with my parents' divorce and everything, I was like always brave, always there, always I had to like put up. I thought
Hmm.
I didn't have to. I thought I have to be brave all the time. I thought I shouldn't cry. I thought I shouldn't ask for help. I thought a lot of wrong things. And my body, just like you, was trying to warn me. You're burning out yourself. You're burning out your energy. You're doing this. You're doing that. But I did not listen.
Oh
And I
my
had to
God.
feel pain. And sometimes you have to feel so much pain
Yeah.
to be weak and vulnerable to let people in. And you're not letting them in. You're letting them in because you need them.
Hmm. I
So
did
you
not like
needed your
that feeling.
father.
Let me tell you that. I did not like that feeling of needing anyone. You're right. It was like me speaking right now. Oh my God.
You didn't know. You did not want. I think just finding your father. This is another movie, but you did
Uh-huh.
not. Did you have that feeling that I don't want to go to him, telling him I need you as a father in my life?
No, we
Um,
didn't. Yeah.
you didn't want that feeling, right? But when you
But
realize you have limited time,
yeah.
you were thinking, no, I need to meet him because I don't know if I'm going to lose
Hmm.
him or me going. God forbid. Thank God you're both here. And that gives you the power.
Yes.
It is as if, I don't know if people are comfortable with that, but sometimes I think when you had the kidney failure, it is as if that kidney failure was a redirection,
Hmm.
because you were going away. So as if it happened to take you to that, for you to
That's
take you to
my,
your father.
of course, that's what I believe in now. That like I could have, there could be a version of my life where I could have listened to my body earlier and this
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have to happen, but it had to happen for
Mm-hmm.
me to wake up because this was always on my mind, always,
Yeah.
you know, and not just him, also that actually I'm a very creative person. I should not be an auditor. I really shouldn't spend so many hours of a day in that job. Also, I need my space, I need quiet, things you
Mm.
don't have at that job,
Mm.
you know. So I was not listening, and you're absolutely right. And the kidney is an organ which filters water. uh I believe, and I read it somewhere, that people who cannot cry or allow the feeling, it's an organ of feelings. People even say it. This goes straight to my kidneys. In German, we have this saying. This, this is hurting my kidneys or whatever. It has to do with crying. If you keep that bottled up, just like the retention when you have to go
Mm.
on dialysis, I believe there's a connection there between me bottling up my feelings, not feeling them, not wanting certain feelings,
Mm.
filtering them out. You don't belong. I think that kind of played a role why of all organs, some people it's the thyroid, some other people it's different organs. And for me, it was the kidney for that reason. Absolutely. Like whatever, every word you said, I could have said that. Like
Mm.
I didn't want to depend on anyone. I didn't want to show I'm weak. I did not
Mm-hmm.
want any of that. I didn't even ask for help. Didn't even feel that I need help. Always wanted to be strong. And you know what?
But the
Uh,
strength is asking for help too,
huh. See, wow.
isn't
And
it?
what helped?
Shouldn't
What
you be
helped the
strong
most?
enough to ask
Mhm.
for help?
Yeah. Hmm.
Maybe weakness is not asking.
Hmm.
Because all this time you were talking, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking in my head,
Hmm.
this is a movie. Where are the other characters?
Mm. Oh, you're right. I'm the caterpillar, and I'm in my cocoon, and then yeah,
Right?
you're right.
And
You're
you're
right.
mentioning
Hmm.
others around you, but you're not saying this. You're saying, I talked to this, my child, I took him, and I'm
Hmm.
thinking, should I ask about the other
Hmm.
characters or are they going to come eventually? And then you mentioned it. You said my stepdad, my mom, my boyfriend. I was like, oh, there's people. Where are they
Yeah,
from the beginning?
you're right.
Right? Where are they from the
I
beginning?
always, through the whole thing, the only one who really knew what was happening to me, how I felt, just like you know what I mean,
Mm,
was my boyfriend because he had a burnout, which is symptom wise very close. Like he had little energy, I had little energy,
mm,
but my closest people, my family, my other friends, didn't know the full
Mm.
extent. Up to this day, they don't know. I could,
Why didn't
I
you
would,
tell them?
I did, but not to the.
You didn't open up.
What I didn't is how much help I actually needed. I was very, very grateful that my boyfriend's mom would cook for us almost
Mm.
every day,
Mm.
because oh my God, now I'm crying because just imagine you're working straight from work, you're going to dialysis, and then you come home, you have no energy. You come home to your son who's been to school, who's been waiting for you, and
Mm.
now you're supposed to cook.
Can't cook. The reality is
You
you
know,
cannot cook.
I cannot. And my parent, I couldn't tell my parents. I couldn't tell my
Mm.
parents.
Yeah.
There are some people who just feel it, and his my boyfriend's mom, she just sensed it and would always give us something extra or invite us. But it, when people don't feel it or sense it, I wouldn't ask. Never.
Mm.
I wouldn't. No.
So many things I want to say. Is it what okay. How about I ask you this? What are the lessons that came out of this? Because I was asking about the theme, and it seemed like that you have so many themes in this. You
Mm-hmm.
have being in harmony with
Mm-hmm.
yourself, your body. Because you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned three, you mentioned spirit, soul, and your body, and you were
Mm-hmm.
just thinking with your brain away from, as if like they're here and you're
Mm-hmm.
here, right?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
you needed to like sort of like tango dancing.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
all of you are supposed to be on the same, oh my god, on the same like level or like harmony,
Mm-hmm.
working together, but that was not happening. So I would say harmony is one of the
Mm-hmm.
themes that you do. You think it was harmony too in terms of um the other people around you, because they did not know the truth?
I'm someone who loves
Do you
harmony, and
think
that's
that would
why.
be something too?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
I
you were supposed to tell them. What was the feeling of you? Did you were thinking, I don't want to bother them, I don't want to burden them, or you were ashamed to ask for help?
It's the no I couldn't deal with. So just the thought of somebody saying, "Why would you need it?" or yeah, I don't know. It's a mixture of not wanting to show
Were you
how
scared
weak I
of
am.
pittiness? Sorry?
I'm scared of pittiness. Hmm, good question.
It could be. I feel like I'm making you uncomfortable with my questions.
No, I don't like. I would say no, but maybe if I think longer about it, it wasn't. You know what? Actually, if I'm being honest, pittiness makes me rage, like inside. Like I get like this. I'm like,
No, duh. I don't need
you
you to
better
feel
not.
sorry for me. I don't need you to feel. You know what? That's me. That's me too.
Oh,
I don't want people to feel sorry for me, because
mm,
even if I'm sick, that doesn't
mhm.
mean I'm lesser than you. And you were stated at the beginning, the company was looking down at you,
They
right?
were.
And
They
so you
were.
were scared that other people will look down at you as well when you tell them.
Are you a therapist? Or
I'm not. I am not a therapist. I am not a therapist.
wow, this is a huge part. Like yeah, it was rather. That's why I started fighting, because I could not do it in a way like I'm weak like that. I was like, you know what? These are the terms. You have to do this, this, this. Like I would not show that I'm vulnerable. Not in the early stages. Yeah.
Mm. Did you show it
Mhm.
eventually
Yeah. That's
to the people
why.
around you, at least?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Mm.
Yes. That has
And
changed a
then you
lot.
found your father.
No, no, no. After that, all of that came after after the transplant. Even, yeah, I've
Well,
learned to be weak, not be ashamed of it. I've learned to set boundaries. Yeah, I did one more full-time job after the transplant.
Mm.
And from the very first meeting, I said, you know what? I think I can do the job, but I will not be at the office times a week. I have a transplant. I don't have energy every day. I always show up when there are important meetings, but I'm not willing to come to the office more than 2 or 3 days. So I've been very vulnerable. I told all the colleagues that did have to know, like, these are my boundaries, whatever. I'm not, yeah. I learned to show my limitations, to show my weaknesses. It was maybe easier because they were physical weaknesses. Maybe like I would have more problems if they were, yeah, I don't know,
Mental, you mean?
invisible. Yeah, yeah, more
Invisible.
invisible. But in some way, this is an
But don't
invisible.
you think these are invisible? Because I think of them as invisible.
You're right. You're right. Yeah,
Because visible would be something visibly wrong with
you're
something
right.
people can see. But
You're
it is
right. Yeah,
invisible and you're still showing it. You're still
you're right.
sharing it. So that's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge
Mhm.
step. I would be
Yeah,
proud of myself.
I am. I am. I'm
I
very,
am
very,
proud of
very,
you
very
too.
open and clear of my limitations and have no shame about it. I've quit my job two years ago, and I'm now self-employed.
Hmm.
But I also take a lot of time where I just take time to heal or sleep, because I don't know about you, but I my energy level is still not like, it's not
They're not as
nowhere.
good as you think they would be.
No.
Yeah. No, I know.
Some days are good, but some days are absolutely not good. And sometimes those days turn into a week or something.
Mhm.
So, but
Mm.
I love myself more than I'm not fighting that. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
So even when people ask me, how about your business? I tell them I took 2 months off last summer because I needed to heal.
Hmm. Who cares?
Yeah, I
This is what
don't.
it is. I'm living with
Yeah,
it because I
I'm
am alive. I get to experience this, and I'm
exactly.
alive because of this body. So I'm gonna
Yes.
give it what it deserved to be given.
And I realized I've been fighting like my whole 30s. I turned 40 last summer. I
Happy
spent my
birthday.
whole 30s, thank you. I spent my whole 30s fighting for life, literally. So
Mm.
yeah, I need a break. I need to
Yeah,
heal.
that's how I
I,
feel
I
about my 20s.
yeah.
I think we're just, a couple years. Like I think
Yeah,
you're turning
yeah.
for. So I think the difference between you and I are 7 or 8 years. So
Mhm.
it's like you're ahead of me in the game. You know what I mean? And that's how I feel.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I am so proud
Mhm,
because I still don't talk about. I talk about it, but not. I'm learning now. After
mhm,
like this is my I finished 2 years, so this is my third year
mhm,
sorry, after transplant, and I'm
mhm,
still kind of like, like at the job I'm doing right now. I'm like, oh
mhm,
yeah, I can't run because I have a transplant. Sorry,
mhm,
I
mhm,
would be like
mhm.
telling people like different,
Yeah.
but I can't just stand up and say like, hello, I had a transplant, kidney transplant. I cannot do that. Sorry, I'm not at that, and I know I will reach it, and I'm not
Mhm,
forcing myself to do it now.
mhm, mhm.
So
Yeah.
this is a progress, and I love that you mentioned that your energy level. Or people think,
Mhm,
oh, transplant, boom, you're fine.
mhm.
No, I'm fine,
Also,
finer
yeah,
than
better.
before.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
also, don't underestimate fighting for your life. Literally, just imagine having thirst. Like, what does it signal to your body? It signals you're constantly fighting for your life,
Hmm.
and
Mm.
you're not drinking because you're
I'm
not
not
allowed
drinking
to.
water. I was
I mean,
thirsty.
it makes sense to you and your brain, but your body is always like, we've been starving. Literally, it's not just the drinking; it's food too. You cannot
Food.
eat what you want to eat. You know,
What
you
were
have
the food you're not allowed to eat? I'm just curious.
salty foods, even vegetables. You had to take care of
It was because
potassium
of the
levels.
potassium. Right. We have the same thing.
Proteins you had to
Yeah.
watch because of the toxins. You always had to think,
You're not
can
allowed to
I?
eat a lot of
Yeah,
meat.
yeah, can I eat this now or not? And it was not about, what do you want to eat. It's about how much have I eaten already, and whatever, how much thirst will I have afterwards, and all of these things. It's
It's as if you are a prisoner in your own body, guys. Like,
yeah.
um, you see everything in front of you, but you cannot have it
Mm-mm.
because you're not allowed to. If you had it, you would be harming yourself. And even now,
Yeah.
you have restriction, right? You're not allowed. I'm assuming grapefruit.
Oh, that's painful. Yeah, I used to love it. Yeah, I'm not
I
allowed to eat.
love grapefruit. I love grapefruit. And there's another one, pomelo, which I've never tasted before. They should
Yeah, I
have
tried to
told us.
ignore. It's so good.
Pomelo's good. See, I've never tasted pomelo before.
I they didn't mention the pomelo, so I didn't hear what you were saying. So I'm having them, not many, because I know that they have the same bitterness, but not to the extent of a grapefruit. So
Oh yeah,
every
okay.
now and then
Yeah,
I would
because
have
I
them.
had
Yeah.
grapefruit by accident
Mhm.
and they did
Mhm.
some calculations and I was fine.
Mhm. Okay.
Um but yeah, and for me it's
Mhm.
pomegranate too. I need to watch out
Mhm.
for that.
Why?
I don't know. Some doctor
I
told
love
me that
them.
and it's all online. They don't know yet is if pomegranate is one of the medications that is one of the fruits that reduce medications
I
effectivity.
didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
You didn't
Didn't
hear
hear you.
that. Okay. We're just gonna ignore it.
I'm gonna eat my.
And
I
raw
love
food,
them. They're so
sushi,
healthy. Yeah, I know sushi.
no sushi,
I
anything
I,
raw.
I had sushi. Like, we have a very good restaurant. Like, I don't know. Every 2 years, I have maybe
You're
maybe
giving me
every
bad
year.
ideas.
Yeah, you.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Yeah,
I
I'm
I
just
heard.
educating
Yeah,
I went away from the topic educating the public. Sorry,
I
I have
heard
like a thing for
people in
education.
America, they eat sushi. So
Yeah.
it's
They do.
just the problem is not the raw fish. The problem is the risk of
The
having an
cleaning,
infection.
yeah, I know. It's
Yeah.
not it's
So,
not the raw it's not nothing. Yeah, I'm
so if
thinking
you
of
look at the
doing it at
fish and
home.
it looks clean, you can.
Yeah. This is me. I told myself I'll do it at home.
It's better that way. Yeah.
I have a question.
Hmm.
Do you think after we went through all of this, you will change
Hmm.
your opening scene after this conversation?
No, it's the same. It's the
It's the
same
same.
picture, the same image to describe my life. This is how I feel. Like, there's been a life before this, then there's been a long period where I didn't have either life.
Mm,
It was just like a cocoon. Nothing happened,
mm,
nothing visible. And then there's this life I'm creating now. Like, I'm actually choosing, not
mm.
just I don't know what I was thinking
You
even.
have
Yeah.
wings. You have
Yeah, I have
wings and you're flying high
yeah.
and you have the option and the
Yes.
choice to fly and come back,
Yes, yes,
fly
yes, yes,
and
yes.
as high as you can, as like in the middle as you
Yeah.
can.
And I
It's the
have
choice.
such colorful wings. That's the
Yeah.
important part. I used to always love to dress colorful,
Mm,
which was not a thing. You would have to wear suits.
mm,
So I love that I can live like that now. Yeah.
mm.
Hmm.
I love that for you too. I had another question. What would you name the feature film? Your feature film?
I think it's something with butterflies.
Butterfly.
I think.
Would you call it the gray butterfly and the colorful butterfly? Because the way I see it, I know you might not see this, but you've always
Hmm.
been a butterfly.
Hmm. Wow.
Maybe it was not colorful enough for
Hmm.
you to see that it is a butterfly. You know, when butterflies get out of their, I don't know what's called, cocoon, their wings are
Hmm.
wet
Hmm.
and they
They
have to
cannot fly
wait
it.
for them to dry.
Yeah. I know it. I've experienced it once. It takes half an hour.
You
We
did.
took many pictures. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Do you think your wings were just either gray or wet for so
Um,
long that you did not
yeah,
think you're a butterfly?
no, I wasn't. I wasn't that. I wasn't that. It was in me, just like the cell and the program of the butterfly is in the caterpillar. But I was really different. Like, okay, no, let me say that again. Spiritually,
Hmm.
I was always a butterfly. Yes, I believe everybody is, but
Mm.
Um, I um, I covered it. I covered it. I kind of tried to press myself into this picture of successful, independent, single mom, whatever picture of what works in society. Because if you can manage all that, you're good, right?
Mm.
I lived healthy. I did everything right, didn't I? So I tried to force myself into that little caterpillar thing, and that was harmful.
Mm.
Yeah. I didn't see it. I didn't see the butterfly. Let me phrase it like that. It's always been inside of me, but I didn't see it. I didn't allow it to grow. I did not allow it to grow. Yeah.
So you were butterfly here, but not
Mhm.
here.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because I can relate to this. Did
Mhm.
people tell you you're a butterfly and you didn't believe them? Did you think someone ever has tried to tell you that? Told you?
Life told me, and my parents told me. They asked me why, of all things, I would choose this job because it's nothing what like anything I would love.
Mm.
Then and even my colleagues, they were like mirroring me, like they liked me, but
Mm.
I don't belong. I don't belong. I was the fun girl, but not. They couldn't take me seriously because I don't know. I always had this playful and creative side inside of me. So if you tell me I just have to look at this thing I cannot. So I always and
I see
they
it.
didn't, so I
I
I
think,
just didn't listen. Yeah.
yeah. I
Mm.
was going to say that. I was
Mhm.
going to say that brave people
Mhm.
who wants to be strong,
Mhm.
they see what's in their head,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have this thing. It's not just you are right. It's more like, am I a fraud? And these people are seeing the fraud,
Mhm.
not the one I know. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's imposter syndrome or not being confident.
Yeah. Yeah.
Confident. I haven't figured it out yet because this is who I am. Because I remember my teacher saying, "Sabrine, you are a writer,"
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I was like, "No, I'm not.
Mhm.
I'll be a doctor. Please,
Mhm.
no, I'm not. I'm not a writer." And that's what was happening with you, right? So
Mhm.
I'm not sure where that I'm yet to figure it out because
Mhm.
I'm not at this point in my life. I'm more into feelings, my feelings,
Mhm.
not figuring things out. Because I think for you,
Mhm.
being so brave
Mhm.
and strong, you always made decisions and stuck to those decisions because you thought
Mhm.
this is the right thing,
Mhm. Mm.
and that's not true. I
Yeah.
remember one of my friends, she said her daughter says, okay, I made this decision, but I've changed my mind. I don't think it fits me anymore. And that's
Mm.
like a 7 years old. And she
Mhm.
said, I love that about my daughter.
Yeah.
Because I was telling her I made a commitment, and she said, "Call them and say that." That's what my daughter said. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
this little girl is my hero. And I
Mhm.
think what happened is you thought yourself
Yeah.
graduating from business school,
Yeah.
having this successful life, etc., etc.,
Yeah.
and you were chasing that, even though
Yeah.
your body, your soul, everyone around you,
Mm. Yeah.
telling you that's not what you're supposed to chase.
Yeah.
Girl, slow down, you know.
Yeah.
But eventually, you did.
Yeah.
That's why. But you also
Mhm.
told me that kidney failure was a blessing.
Yeah.
It
Mhm.
was not uh,
Yeah.
a blessing is in disguise. Would you say that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Would you say that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, did you choose the name of the movie? You said something to do with butterflies because it took
Butterfly.
us to another
Butterfly in
conversation.
disguise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Butterfly in
Maybe the
disguise.
fly in disguise. Yeah, the
Yeah.
butterfly in disguise. Wow, I
Yeah.
love this. Let me
Yeah.
write it down. The butterfly in disguise.
Yeah. That's
Because
it.
I'm just gonna name this the butterfly
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
disguise because
Mhm.
this is who you were.
It has to do with imposter syndrome. The thing is, I'm good at I have a very analytical side. I'm good at that. But and that's where I don't have the imposter. Give me
Mm,
anything. You could even ask me to be CEO of a company. I know I cannot do it right now, but I can do it within some weeks or months. I can do it. I don't have the imposter feeling. I might not be able to do it, but I don't have the feeling of I'm not good enough. I don't have it on my analytical brain. But on my creative part, I always wanted to protect it. That's why I did not allow myself to follow these things. I love to draw. I love to sing. I love to write as well.
Mm.
I love what I'm doing. I'm doing podcasts. I do. I love art so much, but I never allowed myself to follow these
Mm.
things that I love because I thought I was not good enough. I could
Yeah,
never be good enough,
about that.
because it was so precious to me. I could not again take a no. I couldn't take a no. That's why I'd rather go with the analytical part where a no wouldn't hurt me. If you
Yeah.
told me you're not good for, I don't care.
I feel like this is me talking.
Yeah.
Remember what I
Wow.
told Sen? I said, I think of my poems as my children. I'm scared someone
Yeah,
would
I felt
criticize them.
that.
Did
I
you feel
felt
that?
that. Oh yeah, I felt that.
Did you feel
Mm-hmm.
that's when you were saying your creative side? That's why I was,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm an overprotective person. I was trying to protect my creative side, but
Exactly.
sometimes when you protect things, they don't grow.
Oh, that's such a beautiful. Yeah, that's like
They don't
that's
grow,
like
and you
yeah.
need it to grow,
You need to put the
right? You
seed
need to.
in the soil for it to grow. You cannot keep
Yes,
it to yourself to protect it.
yes. Do not
Yeah,
keep it
you're
to
right.
yourself. Do not keep it to yourself. Wow.
Mm.
What a conversation, eh? Like
Wow.
what a like a journey.
Yeah.
I feel like you should have a show,
Mm-hmm.
not a movie, not a film. You should have a
Okay.
show that starts with the
Yeah.
butterfly, you
Yeah.
looking at the butterfly high, and then ends with the butterfly,
Mm-hmm.
and then what the butterfly is going to do. Because
Yes.
this is just the
Yes.
beginning for you,
You're right. Oh, this is
isn't it?
beautiful. Yeah.
Isn't it the beginning? Even I am sure you've accomplished so
Yeah.
much right now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know that. I know that. I can see it in your
No,
face.
it is.
You know,
Yeah.
my
Mm-hmm.
my friend a couple of days ago asked me where I was, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like preparing for a lot of things, writing, podcasting, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at work, and I was working. Something came up at work. I can't. My work has some privacy thing to it,
Mm-hmm.
but I was so tired that I was sleeping at 12, waking up 4:30 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I am so tired. Like
Wow.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't move my legs. I'm tired. So I took a picture of me frowning, and I said,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so tired. I am
Mm-hmm.
like I'm doing so many things. Blah blah. She sent me.
Mm-hmm.
She said, but you look so beautiful, and your skin is radiating. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but it is though. Yeah.
Thank you. I honestly did not know what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you this story not to say I'm beautiful, radiating, or anything. It's because I see it in you too. I see you
Oh.
radiating right now because you
Yeah.
are doing. It's not just
Yeah.
what you love. It's even if you're not um where you're seeing yourself, you're just in the right path after you
Yeah.
had to redirect your life
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
something so painful. And I
Yeah.
know how painful it is. Trust me. It's I have days where I cried and I say, God, just take me.
Yeah.
Take me.
Yeah.
I can't. Like, I'm done.
Mm.
Like
This is
how
true.
long this is going to take for, because I've been patient for years. Why can't this just get right? Why am I not there? Why, you know? And it wasn't a why in terms of I'm not accepting this. I accepted
Mhm,
what I'm going
mhm,
through, but I
mm,
just don't feel. I'm so in pain that I don't feel like
mhm,
I can take it anymore.
mhm,
And I know the pain, but that pain made you not just a colorful butterfly.
mhm,
It's just you are butterflies, not just
mhm.
one. There's
That's so beautiful.
so many of
That's so
you
beautiful.
that I
Yeah.
cannot wait
Mhm,
like to
mhm,
see what is going to happen.
mhm, mhm.
God, this is you're supposed to talk more than I do. That's what I like my
No, no,
new
no, no,
things
no.
in life.
No.
Let people
That's
talk, but you
but
inspire
this
me
is
so much.
yeah, this is not the typical interview because of our shared experience. Like it's like really like one person talking really. It's like so many similarities and actually I find it healing to hear somebody else experiencing it too and maybe it's the same for you,
Just
because I don't know many people like that. I actually don't know anyone who's. Uh, I mean, I know people with different stories,
yeah.
but to have so many similarities, this is special. So I really loved hearing from you too, and in a way,
I loved
it's
hearing from you too.
healing. Yeah,
It it is inspiring. It makes me feel I'm not alone.
exactly.
When I was at the hospital feeling pain,
Oh
the
yeah.
the nurses did not believe me because I
Hmm.
was young. They thought I was what's the word? They thought I was not handling the pain. And I went into shock for them to realize that I was in pain and it was not nice. I was shaking and I was crying. I couldn't my temperature was 40. Like, it was not a nice, very painful experience.
Hmm.
So to have someone who felt that too at such a young
Hmm.
age is important, and also to
Yeah.
tell the world that you don't
Yeah.
have to look a certain
Yeah.
way, or to have to be a certain age.
Yeah.
Like, all these
Yeah.
things are stereotypes. Anyone at any point of their life, they
Yes.
can go through something that's unexpected. Just be kind to them and don't assume,
Mm,
right?
Not just that. Also, I know many people who are very unhappy with their life but don't make any changes, and I tell them, because they always assume, I'm always going to be this healthy. I can always manage it. I can always handle this forever because I always could.
Mm.
Might work like that, but it might not, and really think, if your life, the way you know it, and if your energy level were over tomorrow, would you be happy? Would you feel like, hey, I've lived a good life. I've been happy here with, I've tried my best. I've shown my best. I've felt the best. I allowed myself to feel the best.
Mm.
Yeah. Um,
I love
Many
this.
people think they will live forever and everything will be fine forever. Mm-mm. And
Don't
it's
take
not
things
just
for
sickness.
granted. Don't take
No.
yourself for
Yeah.
granted, your body for
Yeah.
granted, your parents,
Yeah.
your siblings, whoever
Yes.
is around you,
Yeah.
whatever is you have, a job, a colleague
Yes.
at your job, a
Peace.
friend.
Peace.
I've
Yeah.
lost a friend before.
Yeah.
Anyone,
Parents. Yeah. Hmm.
anything. Don't take things for granted. Life is so unexpected,
Yeah.
and when it works for you, and what works against you, it does.
Yeah.
But I just wish, if there's any takeaway, at least let me hear your takeaway first to people
My
from this.
takeaway is that you are allowed to fly. You are allowed to feel like you could, in this life, spread your wings. And this does not mean, like, even if I did not have the transplant, I would have spread my wings. It does not mean you're healthy and rich and whatever.
Mm.
You should always look at, from wherever you are right now, how can I best spread my wings? Because really, and what I also believe is, we need us here the way we were supposed to be. You and everybody needs this version of me, not the version that's not really here because she's living, I don't know, a life
Sure.
which is not really mine. We need us here. So I think everybody is allowed, wherever they stand and are right now, allow yourself to spread your wings. Yeah.
Gosh, you're amazing. You are amazing. You inspire me so much, and I'm so happy. Um, when, like, just giving people reference here, I did a podcast with Sun, and that you heard the
Yeah.
podcast, then you messaged me. And I
Yeah.
had so many fears of doing the podcast and coming out and all of that. And if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have
Yeah.
met you. And I'm
Yeah.
so happy that I
Yeah.
took that to meet you, because you are an essential person in my life right now. I have to tell you that this takeaway is so beautiful. And I have a saying for that is, don't wait for the happy ending to be happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't
Yeah. Yeah.
wait
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
it. You're happy
That's good.
now, at this moment.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
who said this. I'm not good with
Mm-hmm.
names, but if you're not happy doing the
Mm-hmm.
dishes, you're not going to be happy anytime. Was it
Mm-hmm.
Maya Angelou? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. If you're not
So,
happy drinking this cup of tea, then you will never be happy because this is precious. Mm.
This every moment is precious, even the pain is precious. I think my takeaway from you and
Mm-hmm.
from like a collective of this talk and my experience is, um for me, I've never seen pain or things that are not like people when I tell them, oh, my parents got a divorce, or I had kidney failure, or blah blah blah, they think this is the end of life, you know. This is how is this you know what I mean? Like when
Mm-hmm.
you see someone who's going through something in your head is traumatic,
Mm-hmm.
that does not mean the response to this will be the same.
Mm-hmm.
Do not assume what they're going through, their reaction, etc. Do not
Mm-hmm.
assume they're doomed, because we're
Mm-hmm.
not doomed. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
this for us is just an awakening call, or
Yeah.
like us feeling our feelings, or us starting a new start, or us
Yeah.
like, for me, I felt so much love for the most
Yeah.
important from the most important people in my life
Yeah.
when I went through this.
Mm.
There's so much to say um here.
And yeah.
Go
And
ahead.
mind you, there's one thing I wanted to say. I don't think it's a coincidence that we both had this at 28, because around your 28th or 29th birthday, you have the Saturn return. So most people were not living what they came here for, like not
Mm,
living their real passion, and everything is aligned, the soul, body, mind, spirit, whatever.
mm,
Everybody at around 28, 29, they will get one wake up call or another. It might be the job loss, it might be health, uh it might be something,
yeah,
so this
there's
is
always a
not a
wake up call.
coincidence.
Do not
Yeah.
ignore it. It might
and
be a subtle wake up call. It
and
might be
maybe
your
avoid
child
it.
telling you something, right?
Maybe if you're younger, maybe you can avoid it. Maybe we are the wake up call and it's less painful to listen to us, because they're painful. Yeah.
Yeah, pain is pain. We're not. I
Mm.
don't think. I think we were genuine here and authentic about
Mhm.
it. But
Yeah.
trust me, this is scratching the surface of the pain,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The pain was so much, and in the hospitals and everything else. But
Yeah.
you know what? Out of it,
Mhm.
I joined Night Owl Nation because I wanted to be a
Yes.
writer. Out of it, I
Yeah.
did the podcast. I met you,
Yeah.
like so
Yeah.
many things and possibilities. And you
Yeah.
like quit a job, you
Yeah.
started another job, you met your father. You talked to your father
Yeah.
who donated the kidney. This is like
Yeah.
huge. I feel like this is another movie to write.
Yeah.
You meeting your dad. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like we're gonna talk on your podcast, right?
Yes, we
Yes.
are. Yeah.
So, thank you so much for telling me your stories. It's scratching the surface of
Mhm.
your stories.
Mhm.
Uh, stories. I'm saying stories because there
You're
are
right.
stories. It's not just one story. I know we're
Yeah.
going to be talking. This is just a starter, right? This
Yes.
is like not the
Yes.
main dish,
The
right?
intro. Yeah.
We tried to give you everything, every flavor
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I love this so much.
Me
Butterfly
too.
in disguise.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
you so
Yeah.
much for being here with me in the Lemon Narrative with Sabrine. I love your narrative on everything. I love your takeaways. Um, yeah, I enjoyed this so much. Thank you.
Me too. Thank you so much. And I'm also so happy to have met you on the podcast. I'm so happy that you dared, because I could not believe what I heard, and I was like, "Oh my god, I have to write you because this is special." Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you guys for listening and watching The Lemon Narrative with Sabrine. As always, if I'm writing a feature film about you, what would you tell me? See you again. Bye.
Bye.